Hey everybody, today I want to tell you about a couple of small trees you can use for a smaller space. There's a lot of really interesting smaller trees that are either narrow or weeping or otherwise just more dwarf than their average species that can really work nice in a small space, whether it be at a small patio or in a pot or anywhere where you'd like to have something higher that's not going to be a shrub, but more of an actual tree. So I've got a couple of interesting things here today. The one I'm holding right here, this is a columnar Nordmann fir. They are quite slender, and I believe they'll reach a height of about 10 feet over time. Growth rate is right around 5 or 6 inches per year, and nice and slender, and pretty hardy for our area. Firs can be a little tricky in the Northeast, but the Nordmann fir, in my experience, has done pretty well. I really like the glossiness of the needle. It's a very deep green, very shiny, and very interesting tree. So this one will fit in a small space. They do want pretty good sunlight. If you've got half a day or more of sun, you can grow one of these without any trouble. We've just got a very limited number of these available at the nursery, but very, very interesting tree. There's a few more that are more globe shaped of the Nordmanns, but this is a really great column. Another really good columnar tree that I've got here in the garden, we'll show you in a little bit here, is a sugar maple called Monumental. They're pretty hard to find in the trade, but and they're one of the most narrow trees that I've ever seen. Mine is about 12, 15 feet tall right now, and it's only about 2 feet wide, and it'll maintain that width throughout its lifetime, just really, really tight. I think the oldest ones I've seen were less than 3 feet wide and probably a good 20 feet tall. Really, really cool tree. Has all the other attributes of sugar maple, so deep green leaves and a really golden, warm gold fall color, but super straight. I mean, they're like a bean pole. They're just really, really tight. And also around the nursery here, I've got a narrow version of sweet gum, one called Splendor Silhouette. That one's done quite well. It's definitely wider than the maple, but a little bit easier to grow. Not as picky about where they're sited. Sweet gum is a very easy tree to grow. But yeah, very, very cool. We use them. I have them in a straight line, like framing off the lot. They're also really cool if you plant them in kind of like an LA where you can look down like a straight line with a straight walk with being framed by narrow trees. They're very effective. You can make shapes, with them, and yeah, very, very interesting trees. Another good one here is the purple beech. This is called Purpurea nana, so dwarf purple. Is what that would translate to, and a little bit more of a globe shape on this here, probably about 10 to 15 feet in height, and maybe 8 to 10 feet wide. Beeches are somewhat slow growing, but they're slow and steady, and this one here put on about 6 inches this year, and it'll continue to do so. Yeah, but they're easily trimmed too. If you want to keep this in small, this would make a really, really nice tree for a small backyard, especially if you have a light background where you can really take advantage of this deep, deep purple. This is one of the most purple trees I've ever had, and the color is holding up really, really well. So put that against a nice light backdrop, and that'll really, really pop. Quite hardy, very resilient little tree, and yeah, easily shaped if you need to. So Moving on to the next one here is dwarf ginkgo called Jagged Jade. Ginkgo is the typical seedling ginkgo will easily get 100 feet tall. This one is going to be more in the probably 12, 15 foot range over time. Growth rate on this is probably about 6 to 8 inches a year. And again, very easily trimmed. These are popular for bonsai. Although you wouldn't want to graft a tree for a bonsai, but they tolerate pruning very well. Very nice medium green foliage, really good fall color. All in all, a really nice, very clean tree. They don't drop any seeds or dirt. They're very tidy in that way, and again easily trimmed. This one would work in a pot as well. So if you have a container, it's about at least 24 inches tall and wide. You can grow one of these here in a pot for quite a while. And with root pruning, you can keep one in a pot for almost indefinitely if you want to keep on trimming the roots. Next one I've got here is a weeping dawn redwood. This one's called Miss Grace, I believe. Yeah, this is Miss Grace. Miss Grace does not have much of a upright, strength in its growth habit here. So it's mostly weeping, and the size you can stake them taller if you like, but once they're left go off of the support, it'll all tumble down, and they have kind of a random irregular growth habit, and they just kind of sprawl out and eventually get maybe 5-6 feet wide, and then again only as high as what you'd like them to be. So this one's staked up to about 3 to 4 feet. So we're looking at a height of right around 4, and then just slowly spreading year over year. Growth is generally pretty slow on these. So far this year, it's put off about 5 inches, and I'm pretty sure it'll be stopping. It'll soon be hardening off and quitting its growth for the year. And then the next beside it here is a variegated dawn redwood. This one's called Northlight. And one thing I did want to mention, these are both somewhat shade tolerant. So if you have a shady spot where you're looking for a tree, this would do fine. I've got one of these Northlight back in the shade garden with my hosta collection, and the excess shade does kind of diminish the foliage color. So more sunlight will reveal more of the white margins in it, but in the shade you see like a more of a medium green with a few streaks of white. But very nice little tree. Mine is it was planted about, might have been about 2 feet tall. That was about 7 years ago, and now it's about 3 feet. I'd say about 3 by 3. Somewhat pointed. It's fairly round, but it does have a bit of a point on top. And very interesting little tree. Another Nordman fir here is the Weeping Nordman. Now I believe this one here will have some upright strength in the tip. I should verify that before I say too much. But some of these weepers, once they get their footing, once their roots are established, they will the tip will go straight up, and all your side branches will droop down really well, and so they'll maintain a nice straight trunk. But if not, it'll fall over, and you'll get a really interesting shape. They're all different. They're no two are alike. And again, good sunlight, good drainage. They don't like to be too wet. Too much moisture will kill a fir pretty quickly. So, and I'd say the width on these here is probably not much more than 3 to 4 feet. As you'll notice, these branches really hang down really well. So they're going to be similar in habit to the weeping white spruce. And weeping whites, I've seen some mature ones that are 15, 20 feet tall with a spread at the bottom of only about 4 feet. It's very neatly stacked. So again, this could go into a pot, this can go in the ground. They're quite hardy and pretty easy care little tree. Another great one here is this maple. This is a weeping trident maple. I have one of these planted back in the garden where we're standing here. It's been there, what, 2 years now. And I'm really intrigued by watching it develop. It's considered weeping, although the habit, it does have some upright strength, and it's more of a, I don't know, it's somewhat weeping, but again, a small tree that's easily trimmed, kept in shape, and you can keep this into a 10-foot area without any trouble at all. So yeah, the fall color is fantastic. Trident maple has one of the best red colors in the fall. So yeah, a really nice one for fall interest. Again, it could go in container, in a container if you have a big enough pot. And one cool trick for a tree in a pot is to, like, if you don't have if you want the appearance of it being in a pot but not actually being potted, you can make up a wooden box like that would look like a tree planter, and just have it sitting on the ground, and plant your tree in there and let the roots just go out into the ground. And it, you know, at a glance, you'd think it's potted, but it's actually growing in the ground, and you don't have to water it, which is a huge plus. And kind of get the best of both there. So yeah, there are quite a number of trees I could have featured on this year. We'll probably circle back and highlight a few more sometime in the future. This is just a handful for today. And as we wrap up here, I wanted to show you, just give you a little progress update on the split leaf oak. I had shown this a couple of weeks back when it was still in tight bud, and they've flushed out. They put on about 5 inches of growth here, and they've got their young leaves, and it is one of the coolest things. I don't know of any other oak that has a leaf anywhere near to this. If there is, I'd love to have one. But this is a real treasure, and also a great tree for a small spot. I've got one in the perimeter bed that is, it's probably about 6 by 6, all included, but it's not very bulky. It's kind of an open habit of the tree. So really fascinating, and yeah, I'm really excited to be able to offer this one here. And yeah, if you're looking for something that's really interesting and unusual, definitely consider one of these oaks. I think I've got 4 of them available. So yeah, I'd be happy to see one go to a good home. So yeah, that's probably it for today, and we'll see you again. Hey guys, thanks for watching. To see more of our videos, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the notification bell so you can see when new videos get uploaded. And we'll see you again soon.